My business turned 7 years old last month. And I thought, what better way to reflect on the business and think about some of the lessons I've learned along the journey than putting it in a YouTube video? Why the hell not? So I've got my fresh cup of tea, I've got my notes. Let's talk about business. Okay, let's do this. So I have been in business for 7 years. I still can't believe that I'm saying that actually, because it does feel like 7 years and it also doesn't feel like 7 years in that really strange way. But I've seen so many of these videos where people have spoken about being in business for X amount of years, and the first thing they go to is how they've made money and how they've marketed their business and all of those kind of things, which yes, we want to make money and we want to be able to share our business with the world, but also those things are kind of like obvious, and also they're not the things that have always made a massive difference. So I wanted to share a little bit of an alternative way of looking at things and share some of my just general reflections and lessons from these past 7 years. So I've got my index cards to make sure I stay on track, and I'm going to go through these, and hopefully the things that I share will enlighten your own journey as well, because business is a roller coaster. That's not even a lesson, that's just a fact. So here we go. Number 1 is don't work for free. I mean, it's kind of obvious, but it's so easy in those first few years to just offer yourself and your services for free rather than actually getting paid for things, because you either don't value what you're doing or you just have a lack of confidence and you think, well, maybe that'll be good experience. All of that becomes a very bad habit, bad pattern to get into. And trust me, once you go down that path, you will struggle to bring yourself from it. So do not offer your services or anything for free. Always make sure you are getting something in exchange for what you're doing. I find as well, as a woman, speaking from experience, that females tend to do this more than men in business. We tend to have a lot of struggles around our self-worth and putting ourselves out there. So I feel like I've seen a lot more women struggle with this than men. So just have that in mind when it comes to being in business, that actually make sure you are getting what getting what you deserve. You know, you're putting your business out there, you're doing something, so make sure that you're getting something for it. Number 2 is always keep learning, always keep improving your skills and your qualifications, because you do not want to get like staid and outdated in the way that you do things. I invest in myself every single year. Ever since I've started my business, I have always, absolutely always, either had invested in business coaching or some kind of course or qualification to keep myself relevant, my head in the right place, and to make sure that I'm always updating my skills, my experiences, my qualifications. I see this happen so much, and it's really interesting for me that I think this is almost like a hangover from being in work, because unless you have a workplace that is really good at learning and development, and they've really supported you in that kind of growth and development as a person in your skills and development, we don't do this when we're then in business, which is just bizarre to me, because I think that is when it is even more important, when you're actually relying on yourself to get business and customers in. So you really need to be in your like peak performance element. So you should be investing in your personal growth, your learning and development. So I would say always put some money aside so that every single year you can do a new skill, a new qualification, invest in yourself in some way. Because the other reason for this is that the more that you invest in yourself, the higher your worth becomes because of that. So you are adding many strings to your bow, many more experiences, and therefore you are just becoming of higher value to your ideal customer. So always invest in yourself. Every day is a school day. That's what I would say. This is the moment where I've dropped all of my index cards and now trying to figure out which order to put them back in. Okay, number 3, joy over money. Again, it's obvious you're in business to make money because that's what keeps it all going, right? That's the resource that you need in order to live life. It's just kind of like the obvious thing, and I get so bored of all these business videos always just talking purely about money. If you only ever focus on money and profit and things that can make a quick buck, your business is going to get very boring and dull very quickly, and it's going to feel like a chore. So the job you've just come out of where you felt like everything was mundane and painful is suddenly going to become your business reality as well. So for me personally, I've always tapped into what is the purpose, like what is my aim of doing this or creating this particular service? Also, how am I going to have fun doing it? And does it feel like fun to me? Will I enjoy doing this? And then the money is just like a byproduct. Of course, I'm selling something, so it's going to make money. So for me, it's always about loving what you do and the energy that you put into that, because it's going to be reflected outward to your customers as well. If you don't enjoy it, it really comes across, and then you don't start to attract the right customers. I was very fortunate that when I was younger, my mum once said to me, "Lizzie, do what you love and the rest will follow." And I couldn't agree more. There are things that I have done where I'm like, oh, actually, I didn't enjoy that, so I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to offer that service or that product anymore. So I'm always tapping into, for me personally, what is going to bring the most fun and joy and the clients that I'm going to enjoy working the most with, so that actually I'm putting my all into it. Because if it becomes a chore, you're not going to show up fully in the way that you want to. And also, just what is the point in creating a business and working for yourself if you don't enjoy it? Number 4 is collaboration over competition. Now, this is a mindset shift that a lot of people still struggle to get into. I have been to networking events where I've told them what I do, and they're like, well, you can't be here because I'm here and we're competitors. And I just cannot still get over that kind of mindset. I have friends and peers, colleagues who are in the same industry as me, who even do pretty much the same thing as I do. I do not see them as competitors, even though in a weird way people would label them as competitors. I see them as collaborators, because first and foremost, whatever industry you are in, you want to make that industry better. If you're really passionate about what you do or the service or the product you offer, you want to make that like whole industry good. So why wouldn't I then work with other people to ensure that we're all doing great work? And actually, if I can't fulfill something, I can pass that work over to someone else who I trust. And I've done that before. I've had people get in touch with me and I said, I don't have capacity at the moment, but I'd love to introduce you to someone who I think could support you. So I've extended my network and therefore helped people even without having to actually help them myself. And second to that, being in business can sometimes be a really lonely place. And if you don't have people around you who understand your industry, understand business, can talk to you about the challenges that you go through, you're not going to last very long, because you're going to find it very, very difficult. So collaboration over competition is always the way forward. Meet people, get to know people who are in your industry, who are in the same environment as you, who have that mindset, because you'll also just help each other become better as well. Number 5 is know your boundaries. And this comes in every single respect. So know your boundaries when it comes to clients, know your boundaries when it comes to your work and how you like to show up. Just know your boundaries. It's very easy to become a people pleaser when you're in business, because you just want to over deliver and be at everyone's beck and call so that they feel like they could never be without you. But the reality is you get burned out a lot easier, your energy gets drained a lot quicker, and you start to become resentful, not only towards your business, but also then towards your clients. So boundaries are so important. What are your personal and professional boundaries? So for me, it's things like I don't answer emails constantly. I only check my emails once a day because I do not want to be in my emails, in my inbox all the time. I'm also very boundaried about not having evening or work emails. I don't touch those things. And I'm very boundaried about particular days where I'm on site with clients. So you really need to get to know your boundaries so that you can protect and sustain your energy, and also ensure that you are always showing up in your business in the best possible way, because otherwise leaky boundaries means you're going to get very frustrated, annoyed, and not enjoy the business that you've created. You're going to start to really not like it. So know your boundaries, know what they look like, and stick to them. Number 6 is be comfortable with evolving. I kind of struggled with this one to begin with when I first started my business. I had an idea of what I wanted to create back in 2018, and then things changed. For example, COVID changed everything. And so you have to adapt and evolve. And thanks to COVID, I learned that lesson, because ever since then, I've been far more comfortable with adapting and evolving what I do. And I think as well, there's also a part of me that enjoys that creative buzz of being able to come up with ideas and be able to bring them to life. If I had to do the same thing over and over and over and over again for the past 7 years, I think I would probably been bored to tears and I wouldn't enjoy my business. So I've always adapted and evolved my business based on the creative inspiration I have, based on the feedback I get from clients. And I enjoy that evolution now. It brings so much more variety to my life. And also it means that I'm constantly providing something that's fresh and new and different to my clients, and something that actually serves their needs. So be open to evolving. What you start off with in business is not going to maybe be the same in 3, 5, 7 years time. It's certainly been different for me, but I've really enjoyed that, and it actually makes me excited for what my business is going to be like in the next 7 years. And number 7 is do it your way. There are many YouTube videos, many resources out there that will tell you how to do things. Like, this is how you get business. This is how you make money. There's blueprints and frameworks for everything out there. I'm sorry, I nearly swore. Very closely nearly swore. But honestly, there's no quick win for any business. You could use all the frameworks in the world, but it still wouldn't be a successful business. You have to find what works for you and what you enjoy doing. Again, do it your way. Take a few of the rules, a few of the methods, and make something of your own. For example, I really don't like anything salesy or cold sales or inboxing people on LinkedIn. That just all gives me the ick. That is not where my energy is at. I like to attract people to me through just what I share, the knowledge I share, the ideas, the experiences that I have. I just believe that the people that resonate with that the most will want to work with me. I do not enjoy sales. I've never enjoyed it. And I personally don't often, get kind of fished into that type of sales either. I actually just find it really rude when someone jumps into my inbox and thinks that they know me and thinks that I need something, and I just get immediately irritated. So think about what works best for you and where you find your energy for sharing what your business does. Do it your way. I've had this conversation so many times with my friends as well, who are also in business, who don't like certain social platforms. And then they're just like, why am I on these social platforms if I don't enjoy it? Because my energy isn't gonna come across to my ideal client. So finding what works for you is so important. And I wish someone had told me that early on, because in the early days of my business, I was doing it all. I was doing Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, blogging. I was just like doing everything. And it was so incredibly overwhelming and unnecessary in the end. So I just found out where I enjoyed being the most, which platforms I not only enjoyed being on, but enjoyed creating content for. And that's where I've stuck. I've just found my lane and I've stuck into it. So do it your way and be really cautious of all of these gurus telling you how it has to be done. There are all sorts of ways that businesses become successful. There is not one perfect method. So those were my 7 lessons from 7 years in business. I am happy to answer any other questions, so do pop a comment below. Or if you have a lesson of your own, I would love to hear it, because it's always fun to hear from other people in business who are, on this journey and learning things about themselves and about their business along the way. And I think it is probably, as I often say to people, one of the most intense but also rewarding personal development journey. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.